Kent Hovind made this video seminar series on creationism, young earth creationism, like years and years ago. I think 2003 maybe is when it came out. These things still hold up because all of these arguments are still being used today. So I wanted to go through some of these out of sheer interest and see what we could find, see if we can debunk some of it. So let's give this a watch and see what it has to say.
How many have ever gone into a cave and the guide said, don't touch the formations, they take millions of years to form? They all got the same speech, right? You go over here to, what's the one in Kentucky, Mammoth Cave? Or go to Carlsbad Caverns and they say it took 250 million years. They did a study on these stalactites and one guy said, you know, the fastest they can grow is 2.5 inches per 1,000 years. That's the maximum growth rate.
One guy said this? Who's this one guy that said that? Moore and Sullivan give an upper average rate of only a little more than 1 millimeter per year. I mean, who's this guy that said this?
I don't think so. Here are some 50-inch stalactites growing under the Lincoln Memorial. They did that in 40 years. There's a bat covered up with flowstone before it could even rot. There's 2-inch stalactites growing off a refrigeration shed in Pensacola, Florida. There's a guy in a building in Indiana built just 40 years ago, has huge cave formations in the basement of the building from water leaking through the limestone. There's a mine was shut down in Australia for 55 years. When they opened it back up to check it out, there were huge cave formations in 55 years.
Yeah, I'm very, very sure that he's making all of this up. But you know what? Let's look it up. Picture taken in 1987 of level 5 of the lead mine at Mount Isa, QL, Australia. The mine was 55 years old at the time of photo. Okay. His citation is Creation Magazine. I'm immediately skeptical of anything put in Creation Magazine. I need outside sources. Or at least I need multiple sources for these claims. Give me more than one. Creation Magazine, March to May 1998. Creation Magazine, March, May 1998, page 27. Let's look it up. Magazine's Archive, Creation Ministries International. Wait, is this Kent Hovind's website? Creation.com. This is March to May 1998. Let's see. March 99, June 98, March 98. Okay, here. I think I found it. Page 27. I found March 1998. Stalactites do not take millions of years. Yeah, sure enough, it's this picture, surprisingly. Let me pull it up so that you guys can see it too. Oh God, I was playing Mario this whole time, and you guys weren't even watching because my screen was big. Sorry about that, guys. You guys didn't get to see me playing Mario. I need an outside source for this before I will believe a word of it. It is not reasonable to trust a creation magazine like this. But it says, if ever a picture spoke 1,000 words, it is this one from a man-made mining tunnel. This picture was taken in 1987 at level 5 workings in the lead zinc mine at Mount Isa in northwestern Queensland, Australia. At the time, the mine itself was only about 55 years old, which therefore is the absolute maximum age for all these stalactites. Not necessarily, but okay. And are these rock stalactites that we're looking at? It looks like frozen water or something. Honestly, this looks like, yeah, this looks like water that we're looking at. I'm not even sure what this is. I'm incredibly skeptical. I honestly do not believe a word that this magazine says. You're gonna have to give me an outside source on that one. What if you were watching a stream of Super Mario 3 and then discussion about Kent Hovind's reliability broke out? Right. I guess that's kind of what happened.
There's a pipe that was dripping water for 7 years, made a 13-inch stalactite. I thought it was 2.5 inches per 1,000 years. It's more like 2 inches per year.
No, completely made up.
They broke off the stalagmite that was under it and gave it to me. It's in my museum.
Oh God, I hope they didn't break off stalagmites or stalactites. That would be really sad. Wow, Kent Hovind is really young in this picture.
There's a parking garage built in 1997 in Texas. It was making stalagmites on the students' cars parking under it. They had to put up a drip pan to catch the water.
Yeah, I mean, rock, like different materials form stalagmites quicker or slower than others. That's how they measure age in certain things, because certain types of rock formations take longer to turn into stalagmites and stalactites than others. For example, if it's really cold outside, an icicle can form into a stalagmite or stalactite or whatever in minutes. That doesn't mean the Earth is 6,000 years old because you can watch water form into an icicle. There are different time frames for different types of materials to form into those things. What types of materials are we talking about here? Like I said, this is completely made up, and his sources are from creationist magazines and stuff like that. So there's absolutely no reason to trust anything about what he's saying here. But let's continue.
A guy in Wyoming had a hot mineral spring on his property in Thermopolis, Wyoming. So he
Thermopolis. The name of that city is absolutely on point, and I love it to death.
stuck a pipe in the ground. The water came out the top of the pipe and bubbled out the side of the top of the pipe, you know. But it had a little fountain. They called it the TP fountain. Well, the guy died. They left the pipe sticking in the yard. As the pipe was there, it left behind mineral deposits as the water evaporated. How many have seen these mineral deposits? You get them on your sink up here? Okay. The guy died, and about 95 years after he died, after the pipe was stuck in the ground, I went to see it. Here it is, back in 1998.
Yeah, those are mineral deposits. Like, I honestly don't trust absolutely anything that he says here. I don't trust a word that he says. And I don't trust any of the sources that he's cited, because he's proven himself to twist the truth at best or flat out lie at worst. But just taking the premise, I shouldn't be doing this, but just assuming that he's telling the truth about this. Mineral deposits are not the same as rock formations. They are different. I'm sure that we all understand that. I don't know why I even have to say this to Kent.
That would take some lime away to scrub that thing clean, don't you think? Yeah, a little bit. The guy down the street started his later. It's not quite as big, you know. But, you know, at the current rate of erosion, the continents will erode flat in 14 million years. Why did they tell us?
Continents will erode or would erode flat in 14 million years. That may actually be true, but the thing here is the tectonic plates are floating, almost floating on top of the mantle of the Earth, and shifting outward and shifting inward. And that's where you get like earthquakes. They run into each other, and as they run into each other on the other sides, more material is coming out of the Earth. There's this whole graphic about it, actually. Give me a second, see if I can find it. Been a hot minute since I've watched Thunderfoot. Honestly, Thunderfoot went down a weird road a long time ago. So I don't watch him anymore, but he did have some really good stuff for a while. Wow, look. See, this is what I'm talking about right here. Let me switch screens so you guys can see what I'm looking at. He has a playlist titled Why Feminism is Poisoning Atheism. I just want to look. It started in 2012, and it looks like the last video came out in 2014. I honestly
frequently sit here and think about the way things are.
I honestly can't believe that he's terrible. Honestly, he's terrible. I'm looking for one this may be it.
Quiet that you waterways on Mars, all the moons of Saturn
planet, just so happens.
The reason for this.
Wow, this is one of his first videos on it, part 1. He did this whole bit about the planet and like Earth, and how Earth separates into different pieces and things like that. I don't know where it is or which one it is. Well, anyway, if you're curious, Thunderfoot did a whole series called Why Do People Laugh at Creationists? It was really fascinating. His other stuff is absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. Like the feminism stuff. Ridiculous, honestly. But his Creationist series is really good. His videos on Elon Musk and the Elon Musk cult are very good. He still does quite good science videos. Yeah, the dude's, I don't know. He's a mixed bag, I guess you could say. He's got some good stuff. He's got some bad stuff. His videos on feminism were ridiculous, but I guess that doesn't invalidate like his entire life or his life's work. Whatever. Let's continue listening to Kent Hovind.
We've got fossils that are 300 times older than that, still above sea level. They should have washed out to sea 300 times. All you got to do is fly out west and look at the erosion patterns and say, man, this place was destroyed by a flood. I mean, the whole world was destroyed by a flood. Just fly around like I do and look out the window once in a while.
I'm still thinking about the word Thermopolis.
The oldest languages in the world are kind of interesting. Origin of major writing systems from National Geographic. What do they say? Well, they say the oldest writing systems in the world started about 3000 BC. 5,000 years ago. Oldest.
Once again, something that I feel I have to fact check because pretty much everything out of the dude's mouth is a lie. Just about the only thing I found in this that wasn't a lie was his claim that the ocean is roughly 3.6% saltwater. It was just seemingly an inaccuracy, not a lie. I feel that I can forgive that for being inaccurate. It was 3.5%, not 3.6%. But let's see. How old is the oldest writing system? 5,500 years, roughly. That's how old it is, it looks like. And this is from a UK website, a British Library website. There are a bunch of official sources like universities and government websites and stuff about all this. But yeah, none of this is trustworthy, right, Kent? None of these are trustworthy. Only you have the truth, and we have to come to you to get it. Is that right, Kent?
Oldest writing systems. And the oldest languages are modern, sophisticated, and complete. The Chinese said the year 2000 was the year 4700. They think they started their calendar with the flood. They called Noah Fuhai.
China is nationally atheist, aren't they? What he's implying here is that China believes in Christianity, or the Chinese government does, I guess, or something. That's complete nonsense.
The oldest recorded capital punishment, 3,800 years ago. The Hebrew calendar said the year 2000 was 5760. We know the Hebrew calendar is messed up because a rabbi purposely took some years out to make it not match the prophecy to fit Jesus. The Saxons had a genealogy going back to Adam, the Danes.
Yeah, like I said, don't trust a word this guy says. I feel that that's obvious now. I just feel I have to say it for each thing. Each thing that I'm incredibly suspect of.
The Norwegians had a king list going back to Noah. Don't trust the Egyptian king list. That is greatly exaggerated. See the work by Corville on that and Evolution Cruncher. Why are the oldest reliable historical records less than 6,000 years old?
Why are the... Wait, say that again? Let me listen one more time.
Egyptian king list. That is greatly exaggerated. See the work by Corville on that and Evolution Cruncher. Why are the oldest reliable historical records less than 6,000 years old?
The most reliable historical records are less than 6,000 years old. Is that what he said? Maybe that's because writing didn't really exist until 5,500 years ago. We just went through this.
Well, I have a theory about that.
I bet you do.
I bet you know what it is, don't you? Yeah. That Bible is absolutely right, folks. Absolutely.
Yeah, the Bible is not absolutely right about Noah's flood or about Adam and Eve. It was nonsense then, it's nonsense now. Honestly, the Adam and Eve story and the Noah's flood story were never meant to be taken literally. They were always meant to be read as allegories, as stories, nothing more.
Correct, scientifically. The evidence for a young earth is overwhelming. The students aren't taught that. Students are only shown the evidence for an old earth. Remember the coins in the box? They better deal with the youngest ones, not the oldest ones. These books aren't really science books anymore. They're books about evolution. I think it's part of a much bigger picture for a new world order. See, the guys...
New World Order. Oh my God, dude. He's a conspiracy theorist now. Honestly, he's always been a conspiracy theorist. He has been spreading these conspiracy theories since the very beginning of this video. And he's obviously very libertarian, very anti-government, anti-tax, anti-everything like that. But yeah, the conspiracy theorist side is really coming out now.
Started this country said, behold these truths to be self-evident. All men are created equal. They're endowed by their creator with certain rights.
Yeah, that's true. That's in the Declaration of Independence, but I have a little secret for you. They didn't have a strong they didn't have an understanding of science as strong as we have today. It's just what it is, man. They just didn't realize, they didn't understand it as thoroughly as we do.
Like, you have the right to have a church, or does the government create churches? It's the difference between 501c3 and 508c1a. You better study that out.
Oh my God, dude. That's really interesting. I can't believe I came across that. You know why that's so interesting to me? There's this big debate happening right now. Let me find this. Give me a second. I got to pull this up. Okay, here we go. So, Patriot Church. This is Ken Peters of Patriot Church. He famously endorsed a candidate explicitly from the pulpit recently, and he told everybody that he is a special version of Christianity, or a special version of, like, corporation that allows him to do this kind of thing without getting in trouble. So listen to this clip, and then we're going to go back to Kent Hovind because this is relevant. Check this out. It's like a minute and a half long or something, or a minute.
We have a guest who is running for office. In case you were thinking, whoa, you're not allowed to endorse candidates at church. You're at the wrong church. This is Patriot Church. We endorse whoever we want to endorse. And you're like, well, what about your 501c3? Well, two things there. Number one, I had a 501c3 in Spokane. That never stopped me. Okay? But when we started this church here in Tennessee, we are not a 501c3, so we can do whatever we want. Whatever we want. We're a free church.
Isn't that interesting? Did you catch what he said there at the end?
Whatever we want. Church here in Tennessee, we are not a 501c3, so we can do whatever we want. Whatever we want. Now, the 501c3 never stopped me, but at least I don't even have to think about it now. We're 508(1)A, which is in the IRS code. It's
okay, so he's claiming here that 508(1)A is like a way of sidestepping the separation of church and state, basically. So he can get involved as much as he wants. Now listen to what Kent Hovind says about it.
Like, you have the right to have a church, or does the government create churches?
Let me
All
step
men
out here
are
further.
created equal. They're endowed by their creator with certain rights. Like, you have the right to have a church, or does the government create churches? It's the difference between 501c3 and 508c1a. You better study that out.
List of exempt organizations, foundations, and established organizations organized and operated exclusively for religious purposes. The church. Restrictions? No part of the net earnings of which issues to the benefit of any private shareholder or individual. No substantial part of the activities of which is carrying on propaganda or otherwise attempting to influence legislation, and which does not participate in or intervene in any political campaign on behalf of any candidate for public office, including the publishing or distributing of statements. Interesting.
You have the right to get married, or does the government give the right to get married? It's the difference between a marriage license and a marriage covenant. Big difference. Better study that out. But did you know 75% of kids from Christian homes who go to public schools will reject the Christian faith after 1 year of college? That's what happened to Crawford Toy.
That's because people realize how completely obnoxiously ridiculous the creationist claims are. You can be a Christian and continue going to college and all that other stuff. That's totally fine. I got no issue with you continuing to be a Christian after going to college, or at all. Be a Christian. Be my guest. I truly don't give a fuck. You know what I care about? I care about... Oh my god, I lost my bear. Oh my god, I almost died. Oh my god, I almost died again. You know what I care about? I care about extremists. I care about people doing everything that they can to seamlessly intertwine religion and politics. That's what I care about. And that is what Kent Hovind is and has been trying to do since day one.
People have never heard of Crawford Toy, but he was a very famous Southern Baptist seminary professor. He almost married a girl named Lottie Moon. Has anybody ever heard of Lottie Moon? You know, you guys have the Lottie Moon offering every Christmas. She was a great missionary to China.
I've never heard of that before. I have no idea what it is or what he's talking about, but okay, go on.
Crawford Toy, after the Civil War, went to Europe and learned about evolution. And he sucked it in and believed it. He became an evolutionist. Crawford came back to his Bible class and said, you know, the Bible intends to teach a plain six-day creation. The Bible is simply in error at that point.
Yep.
The Bible's in error. Now, Crawford...
Yeah, I don't think the Bible tries to teach a six-day creation, honestly. I think the Bible... I don't think the Bible teaches that it's 6 days. Truthfully, I think that that's just what extremists have read into it and nothing more.
Hold on. Maybe your theory's in error. Maybe you got brainwashed. It's very easy to get...
Maybe you got brainwashed into believing that this is... Oh my god, this is supposed to be the easiest clip to do, and I cannot get it. Holy shit, dude. This is a really, really hard clip to, like, hold the controller down and simultaneously... Why is this so hard? I've been, like, doing wall clips this whole time and stuff. Whatever. I don't care. Anyway. Do you think it's possible that maybe your interpretation is in error and the Bible isn't?
Brainwashed. I'm going to try to brainwash the whole crowd, and then we're going to quit and go home. And tomorrow we'll talk about the Garden of Eden. What was that like? Why did they live to be 900? But first I want to try to brainwash everybody. Here's what's going to happen.
They didn't live to be 900. Spoiler alert.
I'm going to tell you a little story. As I tell the story, I will brainwash you. Maybe you've never been brainwashed before. It's a harmless procedure. Don't worry about it, okay? When I'm done telling the story, I will ask you two simple questions about the story. If you know the answer, I just want you to raise your hand, okay? If you don't know the answer, it will be because you have been successfully brainwashed. Now pay attention. Here goes the story. Once upon a time, a man left home jogging. He jogged a little ways and turned left. He jogged a little ways and turned left. He jogged a little ways and turned left and jogged back home. As he was jogging home, he noticed two masked men waiting for him at home. Who were the masked men, and why did he leave home jogging? If you know, raise your hand, but don't say it out loud. There's about 5 or 6. Ooh, okay, the rest of you, pay attention. We're going to try it again, okay? Once upon a time, a man left home jogging. He jogged a little way.
So when you turn left 3 times, you're back at the origin. I think that's what he's trying to get at here. I have no idea what else he's trying to imply.
Ways and turn left. I'll give you a hint. That's important. He jogged a little ways and turned left. He jogged a little ways, turned left, and jogged back home. As he was jogging home, he noticed two masked men waiting for him at home. Who were the masked men, and why did he leave home jogging? Anybody new figured out? 2 more. Okay. The rest of you, pay attention. We're going to try it one more time. But now I'm going to unbrainwash you. So you didn't realize it, but I had you brainwashed in the first 3 seconds.
That's not what brainwashing is, first of all. I'll talk more about this in a minute.
I'm going to unbrainwash all of you now just by showing you a couple of pictures. I'll tell this.
No, you're being cryptic and trying to tell us a riddle. That's what this is. This is not brainwashing. This is you being a cryptic idiot.
Same story, word for word, but watch the pictures. You will feel yourself get unbrainwashed. It's the coolest feeling. Are you ready? Here goes. Once upon a time, A man left home jogging. He jogged a little ways and turned left. He jogged a little ways and turned left. He jogged a little ways and turned left and jogged back home.
This is not the same. So this is not brainwashing. This is being cryptic and telling a riddle. They are different.
As he was jogging home, he noticed two masked men waiting for him at home. Who were the masked men? The catcher and the umpire. You say, Brother Hovind, is it that easy to get brainwashed? Oh, yeah.
No, he's simply misusing the word brainwash here. Brainwashing is a controversial word in the psychology community because we aren't really super sure. It doesn't exist the way that most people understand it, or the way that most people view it. That's not what brainwashing actually is. There's a video that I want to show real fast. Let me find it. It's on my channel. Yeah. Okay, here. I got it. I got it. Okay. Now watch this. Okay, I did this video a while back. Let me switch screens again. I did this video a while back. Title is How Do Cults Rewire Your Brain? And I talked about brainwashing and what it is and how it works and everything. Let me show you a perfect example. The Chinese did this brainwashing experiment in the 40s, I think, during like World War II and onward. And Robert J. Lifton wrote about it. He wrote a book called Thought Reform and the something or other. The Nature of Totalism, something. I forget now. Anyway, just look up Robert J. Lifton. It's his most famous work. So he wrote this book about it. And because what he saw was really, really weird. American soldiers were being captured during World War II, I think, by the Chinese. And they were putting out videos like this. Watch. And communism and a bunch of negative propaganda about the U.S. Hold on. Here, watch.
From West Palm Beach, Florida. My name is Aaron Wilson from Erosion, Louisiana. This is a very happy moment for me, for now I am free. Free from McCarthyism. Friends, the only way to stop fascism in America is to do as I have done. Stand up and fight for our rights.
My name is Louis Griggs, and my home is at Jacksonville, Texas. I stayed behind to escape the Red Bait and McCarthy, and to assure that I'll never again have to fight in another unjust war as I did in Korea. Even if I had won in repatriation, the fates of Dickinson and Batchelor would have stopped me.
My name is Richard Tennyson.
The Chinese gave these people an opportunity to go back home if they wanted to. And they refused. And now they're like Chinese citizens standing here telling us on video, after refusing to come back, why they love China so much, why it's better than the United States system, that kind of thing. How did that happen? I mean, I've read the book about how this happened that Robert J. Lifton wrote, and if you're curious, then you can read it too, or just watch this video. I talked about it a little bit, but it's a complicated process of manipulating people in very specific ways. It's not really the same as mind control. They're different. But brainwashing is a very specific process that takes place to manipulate people in really fucked up, terrible ways. Just because you were mind controlled does not mean you were brainwashed, basically.
I live in Alden, Minnesota. People who hate war and stand up for their beliefs are faced with McCarthy and his fascist cut-control House Un-American Activities Committee. I will return someday.
The House Un-American Activities Committee. Mark Burns was talking about that recently, saying he wants to bring it back.
When I can speak for peace, lawfully.
How'd they get to... Yeah. So anyway, if you want to watch that video, like I said, it's called How Do Cults Rewire Your Brain, and it's a really fascinating video, in my opinion, but I'm biased. So, yeah. Point is, brainwashing is real. That's not brainwashing, Kent. That is not an example of brainwashing. An example of brainwashing would be what happened to those people during, I believe, World War II. I forget when this happened exactly, but they were captured by the Chinese. So yeah, It's completely made up, and it's honestly grotesque that you would even compare a riddle to brainwashing.
You see, as soon as I said a man left home, you started thinking about a house, and you were off track. And once you get off track, it's pretty tough to get back on. Would you like to see how kids get brainwashed in your school system by the millions every year? Millions of kids in America every single year get brainwashed, and it's so simple how they do it. They put the kid in kindergarten. He can't even read yet. And they give him a book like this. I can read about dinosaurs.
I thought you loved dinosaurs, Kent. What happened? You have Dinosaur Adventureland, don't you?
Would anybody like to just take a wild guess at what the first sentence in the book says? Millions of years ago. And that kid's being thrown off track in the first 5 seconds. How many kids are being taught that in your town? Like all of them. That's calling Jesus a liar. Did dinosaurs live millions of years ago? Dr.
Yes, they did. One of the most bizarre claims I hear from creationists is that dinosaurs lived with humans. That is unhinged in so many ways.
Seuss even says it millions of years before you were born. Jesus said the creation of Adam was the beginning. Oh, somebody's wrong, folks. Now, wait a minute. The Bible says before the flood came, they lived to be 900 years old. How is that possible? Well, we'll cover that seminar part 2 tomorrow. But what about the flood? Well, that's covered on video number 6. And what about dinosaurs? Well, that's
I guess their alarm clock didn't go off. They didn't make the boat in time.
covered on video number 3. But listen, you're going to be told in school you started like a slime and you slowly became a human. You be careful because that philosophy will spoil you. Jesus said, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of the world and the rudiments of the world and not after Christ. Hey, if a child goes 12 to 16 years to school in your town, how's he going to view the world? Probably as an evolutionist.
They're trying to frame it as a worldview, of course. It isn't a worldview. It is a scientific fact.
If the Bible's right about the beginning, maybe it's right about the end. Let's summarize.
The Bible isn't right about the beginning. That's the thing. That's the hang-up here, Kent. It isn't. We just went through this dude's entire 2-hour seminar, Seminar 1, and debunked most things in it. Looked up sources, found that some of it was straight up made up. A lot of it was from creationist sources and couldn't be cited or couldn't be found anywhere else. Like all of these pictures and everything else that he showed us was all fabricated at best.
Right here. God made the world. He owns it. He makes the rules, and we are all guilty of breaking his rules. Every one of us. I'll show you. Here's the 10 Commandments. He told us, thou shalt not bear false witness. Don't lie. How many of you have ever told a lie in your life? Put your hand up. Come on. You're doing another one if you don't, okay?
I'm wondering if, is this the whole Ray Comfort bit? Ray Comfort loves to go out and sit down and, do that whole, have you ever told a lie? Have you ever thought about, or have you ever found someone attractive? Then by your own admission, you're a lying, adultering, blah, 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 and you need to be saved or whatever it is. I think that's the bit that Kent Hovind is about to do here.
All right. Thou shalt not steal. How many ever stole something?
Yep, the same bit. Ray Comfort goes out on the street and does this to people all the time.
Come on, you already told me you're a liar. Put your hand up, okay? Keep your hand go up there, brother. Put it up. Okay. All right, so far we know we're all a bunch of lying thieves, right? Do you want to read the whole list and see how we're doing? We better stop right there. There's no question we are guilty and we are going to be punished. God is a righteous judge. He cannot look upon sin, and we're going to be punished. Or you need to find a substitute. That's where Jesus comes in. He wants to.
The interesting thing is the Old Testament, I believe, or the Bible anyways. The Bible specifically speaks against substitutionary atonement multiple times. But somehow, substitutionary atonement is okay when Jesus comes along and dies for our sins and everything else. It's just bizarre, dude.
Pay for your sins. 36 years ago, I told him he could pay for mine. I asked him to forgive me and save me. Hey, if you died today, where would you go?
Into the ground with everybody else.
Smoking or non-smoking? Where are you going when you die? Hmm? You ought to think about that because you're going to be dead for a really long time. All you get in this life is a little bitty dash between two dates. I'm going to die someday. I'm going to try to make it the last thing I do, but it's going to happen.
He's trying to lean into everybody's sense of existentialism and fear and blah, blah, blah.
Hey, it could happen today. Have you seen the way they drive around Knoxville, Tennessee? You have got some certified rednecks out there, folks, and you can get killed on the way home tonight, right? Where are you going when you die? If you're not sure you're saved, why don't you ask the Lord to forgive you and save you? And if you are saved, what on earth are you doing for heaven's sake? Everybody ought to find something to do for the Lord. There's a war going on. Find something to do, okay? Get busy. Win souls. Be a Sunday school teacher, bus driver. Do something for God with your life. If we can help, that's what our materials are for. Catalog on the back table back there as well as our videos.
Yeah, he leans into this existential dread, trying to scare people into buying into his worldview, even though he just spent 2 hours lying to everybody's face. Absolutely disgusting how he does this stuff. You got to stop there, he says. Please, yes, please go further into mixed fabric and shrimp. Absolutely. He doesn't seem to get, or no, I think he gets it. I think he knows. I believe that he's one of the few people that knows he's lying and is doing it anyways. I mean, but who knows? Honestly, who knows?